Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Imagine a world without airplanes, without Google Maps, without a single travel blogger. Now imagine one man traveling farther than anyone in that world, over 120,000 kilometers across 40 modern-day countries for nearly 30 years. This isn't a fantasy novel, this is the true story of Ibn Battuta, the man who saw the entire Muslim world and lived to tell the tale. Our story begins in 1304 in the bustling port city of Tangier, Morocco. A boy named Ibn Battuta was born into a family of distinguished Islamic judges and scholars. His path seemed set. He spent his childhood mastering Sharia law, Arabic, theology, and classical literature. Everyone expected him to follow in his family's footsteps and become a respected judge. He was destined for a life of books and courtrooms. Not deserts and distant oceans, but destiny had other plans. In 1325, at the age of 21, Ibn Battuta did what millions of Muslims dreamed of. He set out on the Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca. He said goodbye to his parents, expecting to be gone for a year, maybe two. But as he traveled across North Africa, something inside him awakened: the dust of the open road, the taste of new foods, the sound of different languages. He fell in love with it all. He fell in love with the world itself. It was on this journey that he made a promise to himself, a decision that would change his life forever. I will never travel the same road twice. That single thought transformed a simple pilgrimage into one of the greatest adventures in human history. For the next 3 decades, Ibn Battuta's journey became a legend. He crossed North Africa and sailed down the Nile into Egypt. He explored the holy lands of Arabia and ventured down the East African coast. He journeyed through Turkey, Persia, and the vast plains of Central Asia. He crossed the treacherous mountains into India, sailed to the Maldives and Sri Lanka, and explored the vibrant trade routes of Southeast Asia. He even reached the far-off shores of China, and just when you'd think he was done, he turned around and crossed the Sahara Desert into the heart of West Africa and the legendary empire of Mali. Before the age of steam or flight, this one man saw more of the world than Marco Polo, and more civilizations than any medieval king or emperor. So how did he do it? How did a man who wasn't born rich survive for 30 years on the road? The answer was his education. Ibn Battuta was a walking, talking encyclopedia of Islamic law and culture. In a world connected by faith, his knowledge was a universal key. Rulers and sultans across the Muslim world didn't just welcome him, they hired him. He served as a judge in bustling cities, a trusted diplomat between empires, and a respected scholar in royal courts. His Islamic education was more than a degree, it was a global passport that gave him access to a network of hospitality, employment, and protection that stretched from Morocco to China. Islam wasn't just his faith, it was his lifeline. His travels were filled with incredible highs and terrifying lows. Take his time in India, for example. He found himself in the service of Sultan Muḥammad bin Tughlaq of Delhi, a ruler known for his brilliant mind and his brutal, unpredictable cruelty. One day, the Sultan would shower you with gold. The next, he might have you executed for a minor offense. Ibn Battuta became a high-ranking judge, living a life of unimaginable wealth and luxury. He had palaces, servants, and a vast fortune, but he also lived in constant fear. He saw his friends and colleagues executed for the slightest misstep. He wrote about sleeping with a sense of dread, never knowing if he would see the morning. Eventually, the pressure became too much, and he managed to escape the gilded cage of the Delhi court, continuing his journey eastward. From India, his travels took him to the China of the Yuan dynasty, then under Mongol rule. He was amazed by what he saw. He marveled at the massive Chinese ships, far larger than anything he had seen before. He was fascinated by their use of paper money, a concept still alien to much of the world. He admired the incredible order and efficiency of their cities and the surprising level of religious tolerance. But he was also a man of his time. While he respected China's power and organization, he was often baffled and uncomfortable with its non-Islamic customs, from their food to their social etiquette. His writings give us a rare, unfiltered glimpse of a medieval Muslim's perspective on a completely different civilization. But perhaps his most groundbreaking journey was his last one, a perilous trek across the Sahara Desert into West Africa. He visited the thriving commercial centers of Somalia, Kenya, and Tanzania on the Swahili coast, but it was his journey to the Empire of Mali that truly stands out. This was the land made famous by its ruler, Mansa Musa, whose legendary wealth in gold had stunned the world decades earlier. Here, Ibn Battuta encountered a powerful African kingdom with its own sophisticated systems of justice and governance. He met with African kings, observed their courts, and documented their thriving gold-based economy. His account of Mali provides one of the earliest and most detailed descriptions of a sub-Saharan African civilization written for a global audience. He put West Africa on the medieval map. So who was this man really? Ibn Battuta was no saint. He was brave, endlessly curious, and driven by an insatiable wanderlust. But he was also reckless, often putting himself in incredible danger. He was a romantic who married and divorced many women along his route. He was ambitious, always seeking favor with the powerful. He survived shipwrecks, pirate attacks, ambushes by bandits, and courtly intrigues. He was, in short, perfectly human. His flaws and his passions are what make his story so relatable and so real. Even 700 years later, after nearly 30 years away, Ibn Battuta finally returned home to Morocco. The Sultan, hearing of his incredible adventures, was astounded. He commanded Ibn Battuta to stay and dictate his life story to a royal scribe. The result was a magnificent book called the Rihla, which simply means the journey. This book is his greatest legacy. It's a time capsule preserving the memory of lost kingdoms, ancient cities, and vibrant cultures that were later erased by war and colonization. Without the Rihla, our understanding of the 14th century world would be vastly poorer. It remains one of the greatest historical and travel records ever created. So why does Ibn Battuta still matter today? Because without him, entire chapters of our shared history would be blank. We would know so much less about the courts of India, the life of Muslims in China, the great empires of medieval Africa, and the incredible interconnectedness of the Islamic world. He showed us a time when the Muslim world was a globalized civilization, more connected in many ways than modern Europe. Ibn Battuta didn't travel to conquer or to convert. He traveled to learn, to see, and to understand. And in doing so, he saved whole worlds from being forgotten. He wasn't just a traveler. He was the memory of a civilization at its peak. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories about the people who shaped our world. Drop your comments below. See you next time.